Yeah.
like Michelle in the middle, me over there, just so we're not always in the same? Or do you think we should always be in the same?
Oh, I don't care.
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do like this, however many we do,
Okay.
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
I'll
We
take
are
the-
in the same
I'll take
outfit,
the
so that
microphone
doesn't
in my-
really matter.
Oh, yeah. You got the blondes with the
Yeah.
gray.
That's right. That's right. I wish one of us was willing to go redhead.
Like,
Oh,
not me.
Right. I mean, I consider it, but
I'll
I
go
would-
gray.
I'm definitely going to go to gray.
I'm
one
going
day.
gray.
I
so-
would do it, but yeah,
That
not
should
permanent.
be one of our topics. One day,
Sure.
right? Because I think that's so gorgeous.
I think it's amazing.
and I am about 80% gray, and I am refusing to go gray. I'm just not there yet.
Yes.
But one day I'm going to have a head full of gorgeous gray hair, and
Yeah.
it is a pretty gray that I have, luckily for me.
Talk about empowering women.
Yes, except, yeah, I do love it,
You know
but
that-
I'm just
that-
not
Thing that we love.
quite ready.
Yeah. See, I'm just like, whatever, and let it roll in. I think they're beautiful. Like the strands literally look like precious metal. Like
Yes.
it's amazing. Like, I think it's amazing that
Yeah.
our bodies create something so beautiful over
Over
time.
time. Yeah,
you know?
yeah, with time.
Yep.
All right, here.
Okay, let me just make sure.
Right.
Peter is not.
We're going to talk about raising men,
Yes.
not raising men.
That's right. We're
That's what you know you said it.
raising-
Hallelujah.
That's how you know you're from the South. We talk about raising men.
That's right.
All right. Raising men.
Yes. I think it's hard, right? Like, and honestly, like for us, we all grew up in homes with one brother and one dad. So no stepdads, like not a,
Yeah.
nothing like that. We all have at least one son. I have one son.
I have one son.
I have 3 sons.
So it's like we're really tasked with raising the next generation
Yes.
of men. And it's harder, I feel like, than it used to be. I'll be honest with you, with all the talk about, diversity and women and men, I would never want to be a man in today's world
Right.
at all. Like, to me, I feel like as a woman, I had a lot more freedom. If I decide to stay home and raise the kids, nobody batted an eye. If I just,
Right.
when I quit my job, nobody was like, oh my God, what a loser, and
Yes.
so to me, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on men, and raising them is
Even
hard.
down to, I mean, we taught our boys to open doors for
Yes.
women, and they open their doors for me. And I'm like, you better
Yeah.
do that for women. Like, yes,
Yes.
but there
And
are
elderly
women,
and
yes,
yeah.
there are women, and like, I will tell you, we'll be sitting somewhere, and someone who's older will walk
Mhm.
in, and they will ask, can I give you my seat?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
offer their seat. But we're almost in a time where they're getting shit for that. Like,
Yes.
like,
Yeah, we're
it's-
there.
right? Like,
Yeah.
where literally they have girlfriends
Yeah.
that are like, I can open my door. What do you do? Like, and I'm just like, stop it.
And
Women,
why would it even bother you? Yes, you can open the door,
Not
but
for
like,
you.
you can't open it yourself.
The
Like, nobody
story-
thinks
yes,
that,
right,
that's
right?
the story. I'll never forget. The C I got in college was in feminist studies, ironically, because I would not give that woman what she wanted. And I sat in class and I'm befuddled, right? I'm looking around like, you've got to be
Is
kidding me.
anybody else
Yes,
listening to this?
women
Right?
crying. Now they were trying
Oh.
to please the professor who was kind of had a cool vibe, whatever. And, crying because someone opened the door for them on a date. And I'm like, and how it like brought up stuff. And I said, I'd be willing to bet you had issues before he opened the door.
right,
Right. Like, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
And also, it's not that you couldn't open the door for yourself. Like, my dad would stand at the door, and I'll never forget, Scott came to pick me up for a date,
Uh-huh.
and he leaned over and unlocked the door.
Oh,
and I know
gosh.
dad was at the door. And I'm like,
Ugh.
I knew better than to get in that car without him.
I
opening the
literally
door for
can't
me.
do
He's
anything.
like- so he's like, it's unlocked. And I'm like, I know. And I'm
saving your
standing
life
here.
right
You're
now.
dead.
Like, you better walk around, and open the door. And
Totally.
he did get it, right? But on, like, airplanes, right? When I travel, and I'm like, if there's a 25-year-old boy or 30-year-old boy, younger than that, I'm like, hey, who raised you? Help that woman with her
Right.
bag. Right?
Yes.
Somebody's like, but women get insulted.
They totally
Yes.
do.
and
It's
there's
a weird
line
line.
that you don't see and
Well,
you can't predict.
Absolutely.
same, we are in that place because think
Yes.
about when you were doing your good deed day,
Yes,
in
that's
honor
right.
of Scotty, and you asked the
That's
lady
right.
if she would be okay with you helping her load her groceries. But that's where
Yes.
we're at,
Yes.
because it's like, I know you're capable, but
yes.
Yeah.
can I help you with this? It would be an honor for me to help you. And it's not about that you can't,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I will say when it comes to opening the car door, I don't have the patience to wait
Yeah.
for Peter to open my car door. I just can't. And I
think it's totally fine if you don't.
yeah,
sure.
it
Somebody
is,
else
but
have a-
I'm like, please, if he does, I'm annoyed that he even thought about it. I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why that bothers me. And I think it's the sweetest thing for anyone to do it for anyone. But I just am like, please don't open my door. I don't know why. It's weird.
Chris does it sometimes, not all the times, but usually it's to signal that I'm not driving.
Oh,
Right.
right.
I'm not opening for me.
That's right. That's right. That's the cue. But like there's the toxic masculinity, which I think is a whole nother topic. but
Yes.
There's that, right?
Mhm.
Then there's like, raising someone to be a gentleman,
Yes.
right? And then there's also raising them to be strong, but tender.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like there's so many
Yes.
Well,
Be
expectations.
emotional, but don't cry over stupid shit.
That's
Like,
right.
Really? Like
Right.
it's a lot of
Which I would also teach that to my girl.
100%.
If I had a girl.
right?
Yeah.
I
Oh
need
yeah,
you to
yeah.
not cry over stupid shit.
I'll be honest with you, I was a lot tougher on my girls than on CJ.
And we saw
my, yeah, my girls are a
the
force to be
reward for
reckoned
that.
with. I don't want to go against.
No. We were, just to give you a little background, I was over at the house the other day with Michelle and her daughters, and they were irritated, not with her, but just irritated about something. But of course,
Some way I had failed them.
it gets directed to her.
Yeah.
And they both went into the bathroom to wash a puppy. And I told Michelle, I'm terrified for you.
Right? Like,
And I said, and
They're
also,
vicious.
this is the drawback of raising strong
Yes.
women.
it's
Yeah.
They're coming at you right now.
true. Oh, it's true.
And
Yes.
they gang up on you. Like she didn't stand a chance.
I remember though, with my son, because in my family, like men were raised and, not to, place blame or whatever, but there was a little bit like, I'll give you something to cry about. Or
Right.
Totally.
I had a lot
Yeah.
of freedom being a girl.
Yes.
Like I could cry or I could, whatever.
Yes.
And so boys were not so much encouraged to do that.
Yes.
And so with CJ, when he was younger, like my family's like, oh, you're babying him. Right.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I need him to,
Be a good
feel
mix.
his, feel
Yeah.
his emotions, but be strong.
Yes.
It's like such a tough go. Luckily, we all have husbands at home. but
Yes.
I can't imagine doing it without a
Oh
male
gosh, no.
influence.
I cannot either.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
and listen, that being said, some of the best men come from single mother homes,
That's Chris.
they are wonderful men, and they are probably that way, maybe because they were raised in it just by a woman, so
Yeah.
it's not taking away, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know that I'd be that mom that could raise that one. I
Right.
need the dad involved and doing and picking up where I guess leave off or can't
I
do.
think it might depend on the kid, really, because I think that there are
True.
some kids that I would
In anything, yes.
Yeah, right. Like, so there's some areas for my kids that I like, had Paul not been around for whatever reason, that would have been just fine. They are
Yes.
who they are and whatever. And there's some aspects of them like, when I'm really thinking Luke specifically, my third one, who needed Paul.
Yes.
He needed
True.
a man who was going to do
Yeah.
manly things.
But
what
I
I
will
mean?
say,
Like
I
he
think
really
Paul
needed that.
really is Paul being a manly man and, a hard worker
Yeah.
and not by hard worker. I mean, he is hardworking outside of the home, but he's a hard worker in the home and out in the yard. And he's just always doing things. But I do think that Paul always did a good job showing them to be 50-50, if not
Yep.
70-30,
Right.
he always helped you. And I say help you, and that makes me mad at myself because
Totally
it's like
helped me.
acting like it was your job
yeah.
and only your job. And we know none of us think that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, in that he totally was always there making the kids plates when they were little,
Totally.
cleaning, doing chores around the house. Like it was never, and y'all raised them, but he showed them it was okay
Yes.
to be that man
Mhm.
where, Peter and I are failing Tyler every single day in every single way of babying him and letting him, he has no chores. He has nothing. The other day I did get so disgusted when I went into his bathroom, and I did make him clean the entire bathroom, every part of it. because I had told him before, if it looks this bad again, I'm not doing it. And so I did
Yeah.
make him do that. And he did a phenomenal job. And I'm like, you're going to hate this, but now
Now
you're
I
always
know.
doing it.
Good job.
And the
Here's
one
your
downstairs. Yes, I'll take mine over. But I always think about that with you. And I've said that many times about you and Paul and how y'all do, you make your boys not work in a bit, but they
Yeah.
have responsibilities.
They
And
do.
I think they're gonna make great husbands.
We did that though as a part of like, and I was just having this conversation with some other women who do things differently, did things differently with their kids, where they did, for these chores you earn X,
Mhm.
whatever. We didn't do any of that. It was like, if you live here,
Right.
this is what you do. Like there is no, we're not paying for that shit.
I
Like,
don't know if anywhere else you
Right.
could live.
Yes.
I mean, there are, and there's probably some really important things to learn on earning, like working and earning that we didn't teach them because it was
Yeah.
like, no, this is just the expectation. This is what it takes to be alive here.
Right.
So there's probably things that they are missing because we didn't teach them that part, but I'm really okay with the part we did teach them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the three of us have raised boys differently, but all well.
I
Like-
definitely think that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I think we're also in raising, we're different in how we are in our marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how we are just in general, but like it's in the end, we all have the same goal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oddly
Yes.
enough, and our purpose is the same, but yet we do all of that differently.
Well, and I don't know that if my boys would have been different people, because I'm going to say some of the way that I was able to raise them was because of who they were,
Yes.
Oh,
right? Like
yes.
they were not the kids who needed me to beat them into submission.
Right.
Like I could literally just say,
Yeah.
hey, like that's not cool. And here's why it's not. And here's what
And
I need
that's
you
it.
to do. And they would
Yes.
go, oh, okay.
I think
and they would
that's-
do
yes,
it. I mean,
yeah.
it was not
No, where my
like-
brother, he needed to be beaten to submission.
there. I think that there are people
Nobody
who
did that.
need-
And no one did it, and enough said.
But I think that there are different kids who need, like,
Yeah.
there are some kids
Yes.
who you could try to have that conversation with, and they're going to be like, I don't really give a shit what you know,
Yes.
and they're
Well,
going to go do whatever, so
Yeah.
that kind of thing doesn't work. So I just think that it was, they made it easier for me to raise them
Yes.
because they were people I could raise them like, this is my style.
Right.
Like, let's just talk
well,
that
I
out. Like,
got
let's
lucky
just figure that
there's
out.
3,
Yeah.
because I think it would be a lot harder to try and figure out if all 3 of them responded differently and needed different
Yes.
forms of punishment, if you will, or whatever the case may be, to be you really have to be 3 different parents in that case,
Totally.
where
Yeah.
you got lucky that you have 3 and they all are the same in that way.
Yes.
There's
And they all took different trails to get there, but they
right.
do all respond
Yes.
to that.
Did you guys though have like a guiding like principle or like goal or whatever with parenting a boy? Like
Yes.
Surviving.
Surviving. Have my child turn out like my brother.
okay. That's what motivated.
That's
you.
on the record.
So so far so
So
good.
I parented very different than my parents parented,
Yeah.
very different.
I
And
did
now
too.
my parents had the 2 different parenting styles, meaning with me, it was easy.
Yes.
With my brother, it was not. And so they had to do 2 different parenting styles within one home.
Yeah.
And that is, I just can't imagine that. That would be very hard. But and it's interesting that we all 3 have that. We
Mhm.
should get somebody in here one day that does have different. I'd be interested to hear
Yeah,
how they
like that doesn't
do
work for
that.
this one, but it did work for that one.
And
yeah.
so I have to parent them very different
yeah.
and figure that out, because that's got to be a challenge to do. And
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, because for me, I just wanted a man, kind of like my dad, right?
Yes.
And so my dad is like this crazy mix. I mean, he's an insane worker, but he's such a quarter of my mom. Like he just
Mhm.
courts her. I mean, like after all these
Totally.
years, they'll celebrate 50 years.
He's romantic in the ways with her. He's always been
Yes.
that way with you as well. Like
Yes.
he treated you like a little woman, and
Yeah, but
showed you how to be cared for. He
Like,
was.
he would say like, there's certain things I don't mind going to prison for any minute.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like just something that he said
'Cause
to
he's
be funny.
loyal.
Yes. But it's like, so for me, it's like, what is that? How would I help my son be, tender enough to be vulnerable and strong enough to fight whatever he's going to need to
Yes.
fight. And, also driven enough.
Mhm.
And so to me, like, that was like my guiding.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
standard.
I literally was just like, let's make it through today.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
like
you
I
had
did
twins
not have a,
first.
yes.
Yes.
I did not have now I would do it differently. Like
Yeah.
now I would be more purposeful, but I will say this too. The same thing I don't know that I could be the thing that created my dad to be who he was. Now, my dad did do the thing, even with me, I'll give you something to cry about. Like I
Yes.
grew up in that house.
Right.
My dad's amazing and I love him. And
Yes.
he was doing the best he could with what
Wonderful.
he had
Yes.
and whatever, So,
And he really didn't give you anything to cry for.
no, but I would cry.
But you knew,
Right.
you
I mean,
know,
I would just be like, I'm not trying to do this.
Right.
Right. I'm not trying.
my
to
mom
make-
always
you know.
threatened that, wait,
Yeah.
if I have to tell your dad,
Yeah.
and I just, the thought of what could happen was enough.
Yeah.
I never had to find
See,
out.
that
what
was
would
my
happen.
problem. I believed her and I let her turn him into like, I bet if I had
Yeah.
gone to him and be like, mom's trying to tell on me and this is what I did, he'd be like, it's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was
Oh,
like,
Late. I have learned that
Oh.
since my mom passed away, that
such a
I'm like,
different.
she knew she had to make us fearful of what he would do because
Yes.
She wasn't.
because there was nothing to fear. He would have told us
Yes.
yes about everything. He would have given us whatever.
Yeah.
I'm learning that now where I'm like,
That's right.
oh, she
That
always
was her
made it like
strategy. That's so
he's
good.
the pushover in a heartbeat. Yeah, but I did not know that growing up. Probably good.
No, but so the same conditions though that created the man that my father is, they don't exist anymore.
Yes.
Same.
Right? Like, so he came here, who he was already. He had the kind of parents that I probably don't want to be anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
And the whole world was different.
Very.
So I don't know that trying to create the next thing
Yes.
is even possible. Like, I think you did an amazing job. Like, I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
do. It's hard to know how to create the thing you want because even like, it's sort of like going, I don't want an alcoholic. So do I never drink or do I drink too
Yes.
much?
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
a very good analogy.
Right?
To- Yes.
and every kid's gonna do something
Yes.
different with that. Like it's, so it's how do
100%.
you,
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you know?
true. That's
Yes.
so smart too, right?
Yeah.
And so like for my mom had alcoholic mother. So in my house, there was never any
Right.
alcohol.
Yes.
And if you brought out alcohol, we were leaving. We
Oh,
were out,
right. Yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah.
so weird how like, and I grew up very respectful of alcohol.
Yes.
And my brother was like, where is it next?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
No, and that's true too. To think that goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
So you wonder, was the absence of it made him curious of it?
Sure.
And he also didn't see any
Negative effects.
yes.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I didn't either so much. Like I just assumed it's crazy because, growing up, we did whatever we did,
Right.
and I just assumed people kind of grow out of it
Yeah.
and move on,
Yeah.
and then, so, has somebody
Yes.
struggle with like addiction and stuff like, it was just not part of my
No,
Um,
no, it wasn't
worldview. It
anything
wasn't something that I
that had
foresaw.
been a part of your everyday life or even just in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
So with boys raising men, right? So like, to me, I feel like I'm always hesitant to say, what's our advice for that? Right. Because we're still raising men, right? So
Yes.
my son is 20
Yes.
and, they're not like cupcakes, right? They don't
Right.
just like turn out one day. They're constantly
Yeah.
evolving as our husbands are, right? Like,
Right.
our husbands grow,
Oh, yeah.
every year and they learn, learn more.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, if I could say one thing, I didn't really raise CJ different than the girls,
Mhm.
right? I was tougher on the girls because I felt like the girls are going to face a tough world,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I just wanted them to be like wildly independent, whatever. And then with CJ, I think because he's my baby and my only boy, I was a little bit softer
Mhm.
on him, but also he's a softer kid
Yeah.
than
Yes.
the girls, right? And so is that like, was he born that way?
Like you were
Definitely, or
saying,
was-
yes. Yes.
So to me, I feel like I don't want different things for
Right.
the girls, or my son. But one thing I did make sure that each of my kids would do and could do before they left the house is eat by themselves.
Yes.
And you're not going to leave my house until you are able to go to lunch by yourself and eat by yourself. Because otherwise you're going to be completely dependent
Yes.
your whole life on like
Yes.
people being around you. So
Yes.
I want them to enjoy their own company.
That's
And-
something Peter will go eat lunch by himself. And when he tells me the sadness I feel inside, I'm not even kidding you. And he knows it. I'm like, I can't even picture you. It makes me so sad to think of him sitting in a restaurant by himself.
Ah,
He loves it.
yes.
He could care less.
Yes.
I mean, he might even prefer it.
Right.
I would never. I mean, I have, but I hated every moment of it. And it probably is it. One time I can think of that I did it and I had to, just like because of time wise,
Right.
and going on to something to do something else afterwards. But I hate thinking of him doing that. I'm like, oh, but you were there all by yourself. Like you just had to sit there all alone. Like, I don't know why. And so I don't look at it as like you can do this the way you do. I look at it as that's awful. You're not loved. And
See, Chris likes to go eat by themselves. I'll tell a quick story, but earlier in our marriage, I was out of town for work. And so my brother called Chris and said, hey, what are you doing for dinner? And he's like, actually, dude, I'm eating at Sakura. Yeah, I'm having sushi. And so my brother got super suspicious and thought, I'm going to go. So Chris is at the local sushi joint and he's sitting there and my brother bumps in. He's like, hey, dude, what you doing?
like, I'm staying here till she comes out of the bathroom.
He's like, I'm eating sushi. Did you want to eat? He's like, nah, I just want to see. I just want to see. And he left,
Yeah.
But because people are, I think
Yes.
it's weird to me.
Yes.
But
No, I mean, I would go home before I would go to a restaurant and eat by myself. Like,
Yeah.
or I'd pick up something and eat it in my car,
right.
but I'm not going in. I don't know why. But I do. It makes me so sad when I think of him
But
in
talking
there.
about husbands, Paul will prefer to go in by himself, but he's going to make friends with every single
Oh,
right.
person in that.
Now that would be
place.
me if I did go in
Yes.
and sit. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're gonna know him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not leaving until everyone knows
Right.
him.
Yeah.
He's gonna get some laughs. He's
Right.
gonna like, all right,
gonna be
your
a good
day is
time."
better because I was here and now I can leave.
Yeah.
I came alone.
Yeah.
I didn't leave without fun.
Going back to you talking about like your purpose of to raise your son the way you wanted him to be, so
Yeah.
to speak. It's interesting, and your girls.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was thinking about your moms. I think your dad had a purpose in both you and your brother and how he wanted y'all to be raised. I don't look at your mom as her purpose was to raise you the way you ended up, and that was you. That was all you.
Yeah, she really that was one of the best gifts my parents gave me is that they had, and it sounds bad on the front end, but like they had no expectations of
Right.
me. So my mom just kind of like watched me
Yes.
unfold. Not that she was like super active, but anything I
Oh, yeah, she's
decided
very
was
involved that
okay.
you-
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like whether it was cheering and pageants or softball and whatever, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like whatever it was like she'd support it.
And it makes me wonder, I'd love to ask her because she was that way. She would look to you for guidance on your brother as far as
Yes.
school stuff, or like you make the decisions, you handle this because
Mhm.
because you were, very
You just
school.
naturally owned that, right? Like,
Yes. Well, and she's so smart. And so they didn't have to, you were doing that on your own, and they
Yes.
couldn't even help you because you were beyond them. You know what I mean? Like you were
Yeah,
beyond
I
most
was-
people.
I
Let
was
me see that
extremely
math.
independent.
luck with that.
Yes.
Right?
So in that way, but I wonder if she chose that based on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or was she beforehand going to be that way regardless?
Yeah, I think my mom, she only cared that our faith was set,
Yes.
and that's kind of it. That's all she.
Right.
And then she like really guarded against the alcohol.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I mean,
those were
yeah.
her two things, and anything.
My mom
else
was like that about
was-
alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, see, your mom would drink
Well,
in front of y'all. And
totally. Well,
and-
very rarely, but
Very rarely,
very
yeah.
rarely. But she didn't mind drinking around us. Like as far as even other people, like
Yes.
obviously my dad drinks,
Right.
Yeah.
but she did not allow alcohol in our house, like unless it was like a party, something like
Yes.
that, which,
Mhm.
but she comes from, she has seen people that had drinking problems,
Yes.
and her mom was like her in no alcohol in the house, whatever, which I didn't even really realize until
Yes.
I got older. I
Mhm.
just knew my mom didn't really drink,
Right.
because she's just naturally fun. I need to drink.
she say that because she's just naturally fun, or did she make that up?
No, she's
Oh, I know
pretty
she
much-
just.
yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious if there's a
No.
real version
Oh,
of
yes,
that.
no. No.
That's a really funny.
But
that's
nothing,
awesome and true.
It is awesome and true.
I mean, she naturally was what most people need to get drunk to be
Yes.
at a place. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they come out of their shell. She's
Like
already out of her
loosen up. I
shell.
need to loosen up.
Right,
Like, and she's
yes.
like, I'm rolling in loosed up. Like,
You know, if I'm
yeah.
staying, if we're going to a dance and I'm going to have to be there until, 12 o'clock, I'm drinking.
Right.
Like nobody wants me there otherwise,
Yeah.
so I'm drinking to get on the dance floor. I'm drinking to last that long. My mom was like, I'm not drinking a drop and I'm going to be on the dance floor the entire time.
Mhm.
And I'll stay up and then we can go to breakfast afterwards. somewhere.
Yes.
Where I'm like, I hate
Yes.
y'all, you drunks, and we're going home because I'm sober.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of along those lines. I don't know, this just popped in my head, but it's kind of, in a similar way. There's a lot of kids that were brought up, or like, I would say, I don't know how, if this was true of my dad, but like where the family didn't have a lot of money and, so it would be like, that's not even an option. We're not getting that, whatever. And now there's a lot, I think there are a lot more, there's a lot more people with money now. Like generally speaking, just that discretionary income. And I think I've watched people try to make the decision between not giving all the things
yes.
and holding back, but also that kid's going, but you have it.
Right.
Yes.
So that's
it's
a
much
different
harder to say no.
lesson.
when
Yeah.
it's
Right?
just, I'm not going to.
I think
right?
this
That's a
should
different
100%
kind of
be
lesson.
a total topic for one of our, because this is a big thing.
Yeah.
And we're all in that where we're very different with giving to our kids than all three of our parents were to us, because
Sure.
they didn't, have
it.
Sure.
that money to
Yeah.
give. And yet we didn't know, we never felt like we went without any of
Never.
us ever. But the fact was they didn't have to give, and we do give more, even if we
Yes.
don't have it, we still find a way to make
Yes.
sure our kids get whatever they want.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge
And
topic to talk
Yeah.
about.
and separately or along with that, it's funny because looking back, like, I never ever felt like less than, or,
Yeah.
even though like I drove like much older car. I'm not getting into cars, but like,
Right.
I
Right.
never felt that,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Or like I would wear the same dress to like 2 pageants and 2,
Yeah,
and 2
yeah.
like a prom and a ring dance. And it never even like occurred to me really,
No.
to feel that way. But I think now there's so much more comparison with
Yes.
kids and like almost like showboating and,
Yes.
stuff like that. But
Yeah, we need to talk about that for
Okay.
sure. A full on like,
yes. All right.
Deep dive
Final
now.
thoughts.
Yes.
Raising men.
I was going to say when we were talking about a purpose, and what truthfully, my thing that when I'm in my mind, like I want to teach him this or do this for him or whatever, my main goal, I want him to be a good husband. And I think that when
Yes.
you're a good husband, you'll be a good all the way around. You'll be a
Man.
good dad.
Yeah.
You'll be a good man. You're obviously going to be a hard worker. So like
Yes.
that has always been my thing of, I want him to just be a good husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great goal, I think.
Mhm.
I think it's a
Yeah.
great goal.
And if he doesn't want to get married or whatever, just be a good
Well, you still put
friend.
the things in the qualities,
Yes,
right? Are
Be
the
a
same.
good person,
Yeah.
whatever. But yes.
So mine is show them
Yeah.
more than tell, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like show them the way instead of trying to
Yes.
guide them purposeful, you know what I mean? And I would say, let them know that, I think it's really important that they know that they can screw up and that
Yes.
and that you're going to come to them and say,
Especially
hey,
today in the world we are
you
in.
know.
I literally just had that conversation with Tyler that just know there is nothing we can't come back from.
That's
There's
right.
nothing
Yeah.
that we can't work through, get past, help you with. We might be disappointed. We might be whatever, but
might be
there is
super pissed,
nothing
like, but,
we cannot get through because they're just exposed to so much more than we ever were. And
Yes.
I thought we were, but it's not. So yes.
Yeah. And I tell you, that's one thing my mom did really well was unconditional love.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, there was no, her love would stretch to infinitely
Yes.
and rebound
Yes.
just the same. But I think that for me, like watching your kid, right? Like watching
Mhm.
them and seeing what they naturally do and you know, feeding into that, leading by example.
Right.
And
Like
it's
we were
funny
saying
because
with
until we
friendships.
did this podcast, I was not even thinking like I was tougher on my girls, but I want the same thing that
Yeah,
for
right.
for all my kids. You know what I'm saying? I want them to be able to be good partners, good workers. You know, I
Yes.
want them to dream and go after things. I
Yeah.
want them to be tough,
Yeah.
you know, and
Feel
so
success in whatever way that is to them,
absolutely.
and feel proud of it. And
Yeah.
and worker that's one of the things my parents did instill in us
Yeah.
is that, you know, above anything, be good at your job, you know, like
Yeah.
the rest, that's, and
My
that
dad's
is
answer
huge
for
to me.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
if you're
huge to
depressed,
me.
get a job.
Yes.
If you're addicted, get a job.
Right.
You're like,
Work through it.
right, whatever it is, like a job is the answer, right? So, and
True.
as people used to ask me, like, how do you get your kids to work? I'm like, well, it ain't multiple choice, right? It's like,
Same.
get a job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's right there.
There's only one option.
In fact, Summer started not, you know, when she turned 16, she like couldn't find a job. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no sweat.
Yeah.
There's a local farm that needs volunteer.
Yes.
That's your job.
Yeah.
You know, then she
I
found a job.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, for
Luke
sure.
used to
That's
get up
what I'm
early
saying.
and do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke did. He
So,
used to get up
Yeah, he did.
early and yeah.
all right. Well, thank you for watching another episode
Thank
of
you.
Women of the Watchtower. We'll be back with more riveting topics and our opinions about it in later episodes.
And our failures.
That's right.
Well, we might share this. We might not.
I think we should. I think we might be the best part of us.